Welcome and thank you for joining us for this LinkedIn Live, Enterprise 2030, Building the AI-Powered Company of the Future. I'm Janet Hawes, Senior Vice President and Head of Forbes Research and Insights. Today, I'm joined by two of Teradata's finest, Chief Marketing Officer Jacqueline Woods and VP of Data Science and AI, Dr. Vedat Akgun.
Janet, great to be here with you today. It's only been a week since we were on stage together in Orlando for a possible 2023, our global series event for AI business and technology leaders. What a great crowd we had. And over the past 3 months, we've been honored to host over 1,500 industry leaders, innovators, and practitioners from across the globe who are now ready to fuel their futures.
I can attest to that, Jacqueline. I saw it firsthand in Orlando, and I really enjoyed spending time with you and talking about what we at Forbes and Teradata have been up to over the past several months, all centered around what we're calling Enterprise 2030. Could you tell us more about the work that's being done here?
Of course, well, it all starts with data, and data has been called everything from gold to oil. But personally, I really like to think about data as water. Earth is called the blue planet because 71% of the planet's surface is covered by water, but 97.5% of that is salt water and it's unusable. You can't consume it. And 2.5% of that fresh water, you actually can't get to it. Most of it's in glaciers. So the real number that is accessible is only 0.3% or 0.3% that is accessible and usable by humans for consumption, for agriculture, or for other industrial processes. That's how many people truly feel about their own data. There's a lot of it out there, but they can't get to it, they can't harmonize it, and they can't use it to improve anything from financial performance, as an example, or even product innovation. And that can be really frustrating. However, we're really at an inflection point, and that's what we're here to talk about today. We've reached that pivotal point in the journey where we really need to find, harvest, harmonize, and utilize data for better insights to make better decisions and better business decisions so that we can all be more business confident. Fundamentally, at Teradata, we really do believe that people thrive when they're empowered with better information. You can't live without clean water. And in the same way, it's very difficult for companies to thrive without the right data and insights. Following our possible conference last year, many of our attendees shared that they truly wanted more insights on where companies were in this journey. So, Janet, as you know, working with Forbes, we surveyed 1,001 executive leaders around the world, your peers, to understand how they envision an AI and data driven future. The study is called Enterprise 2030, Building an AI Powered Company of the Future. We wanted to illustrate the differences, if there were any, in the companies that are already using AI, generative AI, and machine learning versus companies that are not. We set 2030 as a year. It may feel like a long time away, but because of the speed of change, if companies are not far along this path, they may be at a disadvantage competitively and perhaps never catch up. According to McKinsey, there is going to be a massive impact from generative AI. McKinsey projects that 63 generative AI use cases could add over $4 trillion annually to the global economy, and that further productivity improvements could expand the total impact to nearly $8 trillion. That's huge. To put this into perspective, in 2022, California's GDP was 3.6 trillion, which represented 14.3% of the total US economy. Imagine the possibilities for fueling the growth in your companies with generative AI. You know, Janet, I think we should give everyone watching a brief look at our conversation at Possible Orlando, where we discussed highlights from our survey. What do you think?
That's a great idea. Let's check out our conversation about Enterprise 2030. We'll pick it up in the context of customer needs.
Additional research that we did actually confirms this as well. And what we learned is that there are really three primary use cases when you think about whether it's AI or generative AI that people are thinking about how they're going to use this technology. And it harkens back to some of the comments that Kara made as well. So first and foremost from our research is that companies want to use this to just generally improve overall business performance. How do we use this technology to improve business performance, and what does that mean? So as she said, kind of parsing through everything that you do, what are you thinking about and how are you going to then improve your own business performance? The second was deepen customer engagement. And that one is probably reasonably obvious. How are you going to have greater customization and personalization and have that be contextualized? That's a very big difference than the chatbots that you may be experiencing today. It's just popping up information, or even when you go to Amazon and it recommends other recommendations that really may have nothing to do with you, but it just so happens that a bunch of other people bought some like-minded products. The third is the ability to accelerate innovation. And so can you do something faster than you did before? And can that help you accelerate what you're doing and contributing from an innovative perspective?
But Jacqueline, there's a problem. In our research, we find that today only 13% of companies have a data culture that strongly supports new customer experiences. And only 1% report having mature AI and ML across the enterprise. And 0% of data analytics initiatives are fully supported by AI today.
As you can see, that was a very short excerpt from our conversation at Possible. Now we're going to double click into those statistics. Those were some sobering numbers. What do you think?
Companies have great intentions and ideas on ways to shape better customer experiences, but they have really lacked the data hygiene and best practices to leverage their data to the best of its ability. What happens is many AI projects stay as proof of concepts and never make it into production. So leaders have really struggled with having analytic processes that advance or mature, and still, in many cases, they rely heavily on spreadsheets or other BI apps. They don't have a modernized technology environment that gives them real insights that are truly integrated across all their enterprise as well as their enterprise functions. This is a big chasm in the spreadsheet and machine learning as example.
Since only 13% of organizations have a data culture that strongly supports new customer experiences, what would you say to the 87% of companies that are still trying to improve their data culture?
Well, first of all, I think you need to establish a data strategy. Determine what you want to achieve with your data, then engage with us. Data and analytics is our superpower. Leveraging all your data, no matter where it lives, using your preferred tools allows you to begin executing against your data strategy. This won't happen overnight, but with a purposeful course of action, it also won't take years. Unwinding that complexity is what we are here to help our customers do.
I think these enterprises would benefit from the Enterprise 2030 report. In addition to our survey findings, Teradata offers 4 actionable steps to better prepare for the future. Can you walk us through the first step?
Sure, absolutely. To accelerate transformation, leaders must start by assessing their organization's current data and AI capabilities. Our research finds most leaders would characterize their organization's data capabilities as average at best. For example, only 24% strongly agree their organizations have the data they need to make informed decisions. A stark 17% full visibility into their data resources and how to use them. And just 11% of organizations strongly agree that they have a fully integrated, harmonized, and visualized data across the enterprise. If business,
Jacqueline,
sure.
sorry to cut in. How do we bolster these statistics?
Well, if business leaders want to make valuable use of their data, they must begin by taking inventory despite the complexity. Organizations must understand all the data sources within the enterprise. Why are they there? What purpose do they serve? Answering these questions can help executives make sense of what to use to help run their organizations better.
So after assessing their capabilities, what's the next step?
Well, to create value from data and AI, organizations must first pinpoint the highest and best use of it. They must identify distinctive competencies and then really set audacious goals.
What do you mean by that?
Well, step 2 is all about channeling strengths. Quoting our Chief Product Officer, Hillary Ashton, for most companies, there are many things that you could do. The question is, what should you do? The idea is to identify and hone distinctive competencies by juxtaposing them against market benchmarks. Presently, AI is making significant inroads in areas like customer service, risk management, supply chain optimization, refining internal processes, and financial management. At the end of the day, organizations should not be timid. Instead, they should set at least 3 very ambitious goals that push their own boundaries. Quoting Hillary again, she says, it's a different way of thinking about long term transformation. Go big, set ambitious goals, because if you don't, your competition will.
Hillary's right, Jacqueline. It's very clear in our research that for organizations to accelerate transformation, it begins at the top. Leadership should act as a beacon, offering both direction and inspiration.
Building a future ready enterprise requires alignment and sponsorship from key stakeholders, as you know, Janet. Typically, it's the C suite and line of business leaders. This group must establish those goals and then clearly and consistently communicate a strategic vision that serves as the organization's North Star as it navigates the ups and downs of this transformation process. However, it's really not enough to simply create and communicate a strategic vision. Organizations must empower employees to execute on it. Put another way, enterprises really must embrace a data driven culture.
It's interesting, despite the crucial role of data accessibility, only 1% of businesses give the majority of their workforce direct access to enterprise data through analytical tools or platforms, and only 5% of organizations expect to do so by 2030. Why do you think that is?
Well, one explanation for this lack of accessibility is that many companies still struggle with creating a single version of the truth. As a baseline, organizations should create reusable data products or curated sets of known good data. Just like I mentioned about the clean water, you need clean and good data from which employees can begin to cull insights. The data must be clean. These data products are critical for helping organizations gain more control over their data estate, improve data quality, and transform existing business intelligence into actionable insights. Even with a single source of truth, many people can't access data because it requires knowledge of programming languages like Python or SQL. But with the combination of large language models and natural language interfaces, enterprises can create AI chatbots and assistants that allow people to ask questions in plain language about their organization's data and get answers immediately.
What other tools might an organization need to manage data and AI initiatives effectively?
Well, that leads us directly into our fourth and final step, which is probably the most important. Implement new technologies for cost effective scale. To help us understand this very important step, I'd like to welcome Vedat, our data and AI guru. How are you, Vedat?
I'm doing great, Jacqueline. Thank you. Uh, Janet, I would like to start with a recognition. As an AI practitioner of 2+ decades, I'm always excited when I have quality data. And this survey provides us with an amazing quality data with a roadmap to build AI-driven enterprise. You and Jacqueline covered eye opening results of the survey for the enterprises, and I would like to add one interesting perspective to them. There's a tremendous amount of value and guidance for AI practitioners like me to gain from those findings in terms of how they need to approach AI use cases, stakeholder engagement and collaboration, and tools and technologies to prepare themselves for the AI driven enterprise. That is why I wanted to recognize the value of this study on behalf of my fellow AI practitioners out there. By choosing the right platform, businesses can achieve unmatched workload efficiency and quicker data preparation. This means integrating and harmonizing data throughout the organization. The key is to find a platform that offers top tier cloud native capabilities with minimal total cost of ownership while also facilitating faster data access. Secondly, a flexible, open, and connected ecosystem is essential. Generative AI relies on large language models for human like language capabilities, like ChatGPT 4, which had over 1 trillion parameters and cost a whopping $100 million to develop on a 10,000 GPU system. Companies must have the flexibility to integrate these advanced models seamlessly. Lastly, scaling AI across the enterprise is pivotal. Many projects, unfortunately, don't transition into production. The ones that do, they demand extensive time and resources. At Teradata, we have the best tools and technologies to address these challenges. We deliver the most complete cloud analytics and data platform for AI, and we are uniquely positioned to amplify the value we provide to our customers in each phase of this evolution. Our architecture is poised to incorporate any use case with promising value potential with AI and Gen AI today and in the future.
Thank you so much, Vedat. It's evident that AI, and specifically generative AI use cases, are poised to significantly impact the global economy. But how will this translate for businesses, and what does it mean for their investments?
As Jacqueline explained, generative AI has the potential to add trillions to the economy. But there's a flip side. Businesses could waste hundreds of millions, even billions, if they don't address certain challenges. The real value, Janet, is unleashed when companies efficiently transition AI from proof of concept to actual production. And this starts with one of the biggest promises of generative AI, democratizing data, meaning that anyone in enterprises will be able to access the data at any time and create value through analytics and visualizations. So that's why we approach this from a practitioner's perspective. And that's something I really appreciate about Teradata. Starting from our product organization, we always approach it in a way that will be the most impactful use case for our clients. And that's where I see the immediate impact to democratize data for any stakeholder in the organizations. And with that capability, hyper contextualize and optimally personalize customer messaging and interactions and accelerate innovation such as code generation. Of course, we have to make sure that it is accurate and reliable first. You can learn more about the massive AI opportunity at teradata.com/AI. There you can also download the Enterprise 2030 report Jacqueline and Janet spoke on. And you can sign up for our upcoming webinar with IDC, where we will be discussing in more detail how Teradata unleashes AI innovation for enterprises.
Thank you so much, Vedat. And with that, I'd like to open up the floor to Q&A. Okay, our first question is, what does being an AI-driven enterprise actually look like? And do you have any real-life examples?
Well, I mentioned a few use cases when it comes to Gen AI. One of them was democratizing insights. Knowledge workers spend 20% of their time searching and gathering information. With generative AI, they can instantly sift through mountains of data and draw insights to make better decisions by asking questions in plain human language without the need to code. What does it look like to be an AI driven enterprise? Well, at Teradata, we have a new capability called Teradata Ask.ai. This is something very exciting that we are working on here at Teradata, and this is only in private preview, but but it is going to be released very soon. With Ask.ai, Teradata Vantage Cloud Lake users can access and query their data by typing plain human language questions without the need to code or to understand data structures. You can also use it to generate queries or code. This capability is going to help companies actually use AI to give more people access to insights and become more AI-driven enterprises. A second real-life example is hyper-contextualizing customer experiences. At Teradata, we used a generative AI model to produce recommendations for a shopping trip. This involves an innovative retailer that has a store with a smart cart system. It's a physical store that uses a shopping cart that's got cameras around the edge. And as you put items into the cart, it registers that you bought it. And if you decide you don't want it, take it out and it removes your purchase. The nice thing here is that we end up with the kind of data you would get on an online shopping site, but it is actually a physical store. There are many things we can tell about the behavior of the shopper as we got the order of the products coming into the cart. In addition, there is a small screen on the cart itself so we can present information back to the shopper. We were able to train a large language model using this data to understand the items in the cart the same way you'd order words in a sentence. That way, it could recommend the next product or products that a customer should buy. And this was a really effective and creative way of using Gen AI. It also checks available inventory, price, and customers' previous preferences to make very personalized recommendations.
But that's a great example. One of the most exciting use cases we're seeing right now is around customer experiences. Everyone talks about being stickier, about deepening engagement, about creating more loyalty and more share of wallet. As I mentioned, it is the second use case that people want to explore, the second most important use case that people are looking to explore. Now, when I think about AI driven customer experiences, I want personalization, but I also want it with context. I happen to be allergic to wool. Some people may think it's fancy. I don't. I think it makes me itch. When something is recommended to me from a recommendation engine, I want them to understand and have that information stored. There's certain information that I don't mind companies having as long as it helps me have a better experience that's more contextualized. Our products at Teradata does a great job of gathering that type of contextual information. What other things have you purchased? What things go with what? And what would improve this particular experience? And what things should I know about you to ensure that I improve that experience? We've all been on websites where random promotions pop up, virtual assistants that aren't actually assisting you. And so the only way you have relevant promotions and meaningful interactions is when you truly have a deeper, more contextualized knowledge, such as an allergy. And once a customer has this better experience, what do? They make a purchase faster. They feel better and more engaged with the company they're interacting with, better about the product. And most important, they come back.
That's a great perspective, Jacqueline. Okay, our next question. Vidat, you mentioned that companies need to integrate and harmonize data throughout the organization. Can you tell us more about the data challenges companies are struggling with and how they're overcoming them?
First, let me acknowledge that many organizations are still struggling to integrate and harmonize their data across silos. In the Enterprise 2030 survey, we found that 1 in 4 executives ranked their top data challenges as managing large amounts of data, integrating that data across silos, and ensuring data quality. But do you know what the most urgent challenge was? 1 in 3 companies said ensuring data security, privacy, and compliance was their biggest challenge. I think that shows how important trust is when it comes to data and especially AI. As a career AI practitioner, I've done a lot of use cases and solved tough business problems. As practitioners, we have to be very responsible in approaching how we use data for AI and machine learning models. Teradata's approach to trusted AI is from the framework of people, process, and technology. Trusted AI as a technology is only as trusted as the people using it and the processes that one has in place before, during, and after deploying AI in production. People must be committed to using AI ethically, from actively avoiding or removing bias to being transparent about how AI makes decisions. In this context, the AI-driven enterprise is actually the human-driven enterprise, because no matter how advanced the technology is, if it is not focused on improving people's experiences and the quality of life, then it will not perform as needed, be ethical, or be trusted.
I'd just like to add that not many companies can say that for the past 2 decades, they've been listed as one of the most ethical companies, but Teradata can. Our ethos as a company is to not only be trusted, but to be responsible. When we talk about AI, we don't actually say responsible AI. That's because we view people as the ones who should be responsible. And then you can trust the output that the responsible people are building. I do think that people may be reticent about where they can go with AI and generative AI. And I think it's incredibly important. Leaders are focused on governance, compliance, and ensuring the integrity of their systems.
Absolutely. I completely agree with your perspective. This responsible approach not only fosters trust, but also ensures that AI serves as a force for positive change in our society. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone who attended today. Please go to teradata.com/AI to download the Enterprise 30 report and learn more about the AI-driven decade.